Hey yo, Cammygbr, we are here, part 3 of how to save the URL. This one I'm also particularly passionate about. The Crucible, man. The Crucible is a very important part of the URL, or I should say the PG, the influx and talent is super important. So let's really try and break down what the Crucible is. Let's figure out a solution together.
One a day till 100K. Look, I've been with plenty women, still don't know how women think. Been through the good and bad, really through the thick and thin. Sometimes I'm questioning the world that they be living in. Their standards be a fantasy to fan their public image. If it's Twitter, 6 figures isn't rich now, huh? But IRL, they gave it up for a chipped out blunt. I'd rather stay in the house and leave the bitch out front. I won't fit into your criteria list, now what? See, she say she like to sniff and hit a dab. I think shawty wildin'. She go from power to the gas like she in a hybrid. Say she doesn't do this often, guess she got some mileage. She say she into Libras, I said I'm into silence. Come with baggage, I ain't carrying your luggage, bitch. She get to lying and she come up with the dumbest shit. Starts talking about my truth, I'm making fun of it. The greatest thing about truth is, it's only one of it, Cole.
What's good, Cammygbr? We are here, as I said at the start, man, the Crucible. So let's talk about what the Crucible is. By the way, if you enjoy the series, please subscribe. Really appreciate all the time and support people have spent watching these videos and all of that. I know it's a difficult topic. Love the URL. And to admit that there's a lot of faults with it is shit, but I'm saying it with the best intention moving forward. Back to the Crucible. What is the Crucible? The Crucible is the newest way that the URL is bringing talent to battle rap. So they had the Proving Ground series, and the Proving Ground series was very much about getting the smaller cards, picking a couple of stars, and then integrating them into the URL run by Norbs. Obviously, we were aware of what happened to Norbs and why that relationship fell apart. Which then led the URL to be in a position where they needed to look for talent and they needed to find a new way of bringing them in. So they did a Ultimate Madness tournament because it landed right when COVID started. As COVID started, they formed a tournament. It was called Ultimate Madness, and it kind of took in the dribs and drabs of Survivor Series and the last of the PGs. So from what I know of, the last, I will call top tier, but maybe not quite top tier, but somewhere in that era, the last successful talent that came out of the PG system is Real Sick. Just before COVID, he had a battle come out, I feel like maybe the January or the November before, that came out on the URL channel. I think it was a random YouTube drop with Real Sick on a PG. Now Easy the Block Captain did one versus Swag Tana, which I think kind of became a bit of a cult classic performance. Like, if you knew Easy the Block Captain, he was the best battle rapper in the world at that time. If you didn't know him, or you were introduced to him, he was shit and he didn't have all the talent. Which is funny because Norbs thought the same thing and wasn't going to push Easy the Block Captain further. Lo and behold, biggest star in battle rap in the last 5 years maybe. So they have Ultimate Madness 1. Features talent like Jay the Nightwing, Real Sick and Easy as mentioned, Don Marino, Ace Amin, Bad News, Jay Kruger, Fawns, you know, there's a melee, Rubando, like there's a melee of battle rappers that were kind of PG class that the average URL fan might not be aware of, but if you're deep into the culture, you knew who they were. This tournament became very successful with Ultimate Madness. It became very successful as a brand. It was very good for most of the battle rappers because they were put on a free platform, also known as Caffeine, for everyone to see every second week. With no payment, no clause, no nothing like that. Just sit and enjoy the content. And in COVID times, that's what we needed. As Ultimate Madness got bigger, it was getting harder to then get the interest back into the new talent. So P from URL then devises what we now call the Crucible. The Crucible essentially is almost like a talent show of battle rap, where it's not about winning. It's not just about winning. There's a lot that happens in battle rap, and there's a lot of dynamics that can't be counted for over just a win or a loss. And they kind of make this structure almost like an X Factor or America/Britain's Got Talent kind of thing, where there's a select amount of battle rappers that are just new, and then they go 1 round, 60 seconds, you have the floor. And they have 3 esteemed judges who then say, you're good, you're shite, you're choked, nice rebuttal. And I believe it might not be 1 round, I think they had 2 rounds. Because they all allowed an opportunity to rebuttal, essentially, if felt necessary. And they would go through city to city to city to city. And I think it's a really interesting concept that you, as a talent scout, you then go across place to place to place to place to place. Speaking of talent scouts, part of the Crucible was there was a team of scouts, and they would pick who they want to come up to the Crucible. They would go, someone, let's say you have a Tony Bro, he had 2 people from one specific state. Let's say they visit about 8 states, 6 or 8 states. So they may have a team of 12 to 16, 2 from each area. So 2 from there, 2 from Lex Luthor, 2 from Chilla Jones, and it kind of from all different walks of life, essentially, in America. So they would go through this first round, and they would pick 5 battle rappers from the list that were okay, this is the guys going on the next level. And if you didn't pass it this time, you could come back next year. And I like that. I like the opportunity to come back. So they go through all these states, they get together, and now it becomes more like cards, a bit more like regular battle rap, where they have these kind of face each other cards, where it's not about winning, but it's about showing out. Shorter rounds, small room environment, you're battling your peers, there's not too much of a distraction going on, which lo and behold then goes to a final exam or an Ultimate Madness, like what happened at Ultimate Madness 4, but we'll get to that. So they have a final exam usually, and final exam is essentially your rookies versus vets. It's you've rapped, you've done your thing, and here's your opportunity. Do what you can against these guys. These guys are the veterans, they've done this for a long time, they've been involved in the culture. Now you need to clean up shop. So that's kind of where the Crucible then ends, and then they sort of just get filtered into the system without that extra storyline afterwards. They'd be like, right, now I'm out of the Crucible, I'm out of my high school era, and now I'm ready to be an adult battle rapper. They don't tend to have that. They're just sort of, here you go, bye-bye, you're done. You're in the system, we'll call you if you need you. Which, unfortunately, it kind of leaves a lot of battle rappers hanging dry, and it's been quite difficult to follow who's been in the Crucible, who's still in the roster and who's still active in battle rap. There's a lot of names that were on the final exams that have not had many battles since. I think probably the biggest successes from the Crucibles, maybe Souffleur Soul, Foots, and Giannis. After that, there's not many battle rappers that were in that system that came out better for it. There's a lot of people that even made it to the final and got pushed to the side. So I like the concept. I think the talent show concept is a very good concept. Part of the problem was that this was exclusively on the URL app. So you could only see it if you paid your $7.99 a month. If you were wanting to follow the culture of battle rap and you wanted to follow the new guys coming up, then ask, and not ask, why is this guy on the card? Why is this guy on the card? Then you had to be part of the app to follow what's going on. Like, you were out of the cool group, essentially. But I will tell you this, the talent show system was some of the greatest content because there was people who were shit. And you had, the editing style was really good, where it was just like awkward cut-offs, and you know, like you had some of the judges that were more Simon Cowell type characters that didn't take no shit. You're a pish, fuck off, you can't rap, you do this, you do that. And like, I really liked the energy that came with it. And the guest, A-Ward of all people, who's never done a URL battle, was a judge for the Crucible. I like the surprise factors, because you could do New York and have imagine New York and you've got Mook, K-Shine, T-Rex as your judges. Imagine that. Well, I think when they did it though, they had like Swave, T-Top, and Easy, the block captain maybe. I'm not 100%, can't remember that. But they had talent in every state, and a lot of times representatives from the area that they're from. There was a great, it was just such a great concept to start with. And I was so invested in the Crucible. And then it felt by the end of it, they just went, we're done.
We're going to get right into the video, as y'all see in the title. The solutions for the New York Crucible, because it was boo-boo. Shout out to my dog, Bumpy Bars. Y'all subscribe to him, Bumpy Bars TV. I'll put his original video in the description below. He had a video on the New York Crucible. The reviews from it was already bad. I caught the New York Crucible myself. That shit was Dookie Juice Supreme. You know what I'm saying? It was bad. And it was certain reasons why it fucked me up, maybe more than others. We're going to get into it, the solutions for the New York Crucible and how it should have been done. First of all, Smack URL has a junior league. If you've been around this culture from the beginning, or like 10 plus, you probably heard of a league in New York with all New York rappers, and it's called We Go Hard. And everybody on the fucking league, number one, their experience, they've never been on any big stages. And they have years and years of experience, at least 8+ years of experience. And these niggas is fire. And they all from New York, Brooklyn. You got niggas from Harlem, Queens. It's niggas from Yonkers like John. It's a whole roster of niggas called We Go Hard. I will also put We Go Hard link in the description if y'all never seen We Go Hard. This is a league endorsed by Smack URL, and it's under Smack. URLs, these are some of the rappers who were on We Go Hard. Steams came from We Go Hard. The rapper Chess, he came from We Go Hard. That's where they were drafted from. We Go Hard has, I don't know if y'all heard of, what's his name? I don't know if y'all heard of, I cannot think of dude's name. Gwitty? Oh, yeah. Gwitty is paper. If y'all heard of Gwitty, Gwitty came from We Go Hard. I believe Dot has some battles on there. But anyway, We Go Hard Bro, these niggas is fire. Every nigga on that bitch, Hallelujah Jones, motherfucking Presidential Dubs. I remember they had a nigga called Styles. Matt, bro. We Go Hard is the New York Crucible, bro.
When the first Crucible happened, and a lot of the battle rappers ended up in Ultimate Madness, like they didn't know what to do with them, so they put them in Ultimate Madness 4, which none of them won. None of the Crucible guys won that. And who won the Ultimate Madness 4? I actually can't remember who won Ultimate Madness 4, and I watched it all. No, I really can't remember. I'll get to that another time. They had the Ultimate Madness and they kind of flunked the end of it. And we were waiting so long for an end result because they threw in Kid Slade. They threw Kid Slade in Ultimate Madness 4 too, but he was on the Crucible as the... I think it was like a wild card, and URL would just pick someone as a wild card to be part of it, and he was that one who didn't have to try out but needed to be in the system, so they worked their way around it. They had such great opportunities and the setup for what was a great concept, but terrible execution. Just nothing happened. Nothing occurred by the end of each Crucible. There has been 4 Crucibles. Like, they're on Crucible number 4. I couldn't tell you who was on the last Crucible. I could tell you that Yunus was on the second one, and Dice. And I could tell you Souffleur Soul, Kid Slade was on it, but he got pushed off it. Foots was on it, and 1 or 2 others. I can't tell you everyone that was on these cards. And the one thing with the PGs, we knew exactly what class these guys are in. We knew Chess, T-Top, Briz, Pret, we all knew they were in a class. Ill Will, JC, Chilla Jones, we knew they were in a class. John, B Magic, Bill Collector, that was another class. You know, we knew where these guys were coming into it, but we don't, like, it all fell apart. And the promotion for Crucible is awful. As I said, there's 4 Crucibles. I can't tell you all the battle rappers on. Anderson Burris, okay, he did a Crucible, then left URL, worked for Caffeine, and became way more popular outside of the URL than in the URL, getting millions of views on shorts and 100,000 view battles on YouTube, where a lot of URL battlers, especially Crucible battlers, cannot do that on their Nelly. All these guys have the opportunity to be big, but when they're given a faulty system, they can only work in the parameters that they have.
He gonna learn the difference in all types of ways. Versus Wu, you took your shahada wrong. You ain't stopped to pray. It's Allah ilaha illallah. What, you forgot your faith? It sounds like you just put a whole bunch of shit together. The Aki way. You gonna die today. Whoa! It sounds like you just put a whole bunch of shit together. The Aki way. You gonna die today. In the quickest fashion, end the story. Like I'm doing inventory, I got the total package. Drive off in a boat, he get thrown off a back and I hopped out, clicking on foot. Now he river dancing, really drowned dog. Now he river dancing, really drowned dog. I feel like the only puncher dominant left. I'm a southpaw, you kill Nitty. I feel like the only puncher dominant left. I'm a southpaw, you kill Nitty, but they gonna hide this 32. Like a mouth guard. He gonna lie, y'all. But they gonna hide this 32 like a mouth. He gonna lie, y'all, like he the best in DC. Foots ain't make a breakthrough like Zion. Foot's the weakest link like Achilles. And that's a hill I'ma die on. Fans,
please. And Anderson Burris was luckily enough, clever enough, and prepared enough that he could set things up himself and not need the contract litigation of URL, caffeine, and all that to make himself popular and make himself a valued person to have on a card. As I've said there's a lot of things wrong with the Crucible. There's no real progression. Once you do the talent show, then it's back to regular cards. It is all hidden behind an app. There's no path after the Crucible. There's nothing that says, here what are, this is your next battle. There's nothing like that afterwards. And there's no concept of when the Crucible starts and the Crucible ends. It needs to be, this is the end of the season, this is the start of the next one. So let me tell you how I would try and solve this for the URL. I really like the first round concept. I really like that you have just a bunch of battle rappers that are like local or driven out to their nearest testing ground, proving ground. You can play with it like that to try out and be a part of the culture. I appreciate that. I think that's great. And you have your best material versus someone random. You have no idea who you're battling. You've just got to go, okay, time to rap. And if you're quick on your feet, then you can possibly throw in a rebuttal. You know who did that to win hundreds of thousands of pounds? T-Rex did that. He would just say, I think in particular, Big T in Total Slaughter, I think you Big T, I'll send you where Big T. And then he started talking about how the Uzi trying to tiptoe. Like, he would do that right after. He just had a little thing here, reference the name, mixtape bars. And it was perfect. So, if I was the URL, I would continue that format. I think it's brilliant. And I think you expand that to the UK and other areas, because why the fuck not? Have a little international thing. And maybe trust someone just to get the footage, recover, and speak to you on the phone to get, push it further. Because why not? Why not? There's a loyal fan base that pays money into it. Some of that money could be used just to, I don't know. But that's for international relations. That's for the first video. So they have the Crucible, and let's say they keep it in America, and they go state to state to state to state, right? 8 states, 6 states. Do the same thing. Boom, boom. Top 5 each state. And now you have 40 battle rappers, right? I would then say, you would go, okay, who's the number one guy out of all of these 5 that we've got in each state? So that everyone says this is, and you can call them the golden buzzer. You can just call them that. Fuck it. The golden buzzer, right? And you get them, they fuck off to the semi-finals. So now you have 4 after the first round, right? You have 4. I think the second round, you make them do a 2-on-2. You just make them do a 2-on-2, and they all have to have a minute each of rapping, and so you have 8 episodes of the first round, and you just go from each state, and you get half-an-hour episodes of these guys rapping, thoughts on the battle, discussion on battle rap, all this sort of stuff. And now the second round, you have this 2-on-2, and then this is just a real quick, you fire through it, right? And then it's about who is the best of it. It doesn't have to be who wins as the team. If you want to make it judge like that, cool, and work on chemistry, awesome. But it does not have to be that. Just who has the best performance in the middle of it. And ideally, you want you and your partner to win, because they work on the performance together. But you also don't want to exclude someone if they choke and you carry the team. So, you have the second round with the same judging criteria as the first, but you know who you're battling, and you're giving your partner, they're connected up, work on Skype or however which way they meet up and practice, show how committed you are to do this. Find a spot, do the battle. Then comes the third round. At this point, you've picked two. You've picked two out of them, right? And then you have, after having them two, you then go ahead and the next round can be your one-on-one round. That could be the first time you have them doing 3 rounds. And you get people over. Because at this point, you've went from about 40 battle rappers. You've then put 5 up top. And you've taken 2 along with you. So you end up at around, like, was it 8 battle rappers? See, I'm doing math now. 8 battle rappers that are like Golden Star, they're in the next round already. Maybe they all battle each other, and then you have the winners from the 2-on-2s, they battle each other, and you've got yourself about 8 to 10 battles like on a card with that alone. And now that's almost a 2-day event almost, that you have all these free battles to have, maybe the day before Summer Madness or the day after, I don't know. You work it out, and you could document series of them going to an event and speaking to battle rappers who then give them advice the day before, the night before, or like, you know, like you integrate coaches, something like that. Be amazing, right? And at that point, you have all this one-on-one cards, and there you have a little tournament for the best 4 at the end of it. Like, you could do something like that, or you could have another 2-on-2, but they work with a veteran, or maybe it becomes a team sport of the veterans versus the rookies for a card, kind of like Final Exam, but you've made more of a structured system to come out with your top lot. You know what I'm saying? Just sort of like you could have a well-structured show, and that right there can be 20 weeks worth of programming, or at least 14, 15 weeks that we're glued to our TVs going, battle rap's amazing. Even if it's half an hour shows, hour shows, you know, you could have 2 stages per episode in the first round. Second round gets done in 1 episode. There's like the talent show idea is amazing, but it's executed currently so poorly. And I think if you have this more thought put into it, a little more money put into it, and the most important thing, stream this on YouTube. I feel that they always have this backwards where they have URL, they have some big battles on the YouTube, and all their up-and-coming talent is hidden behind the app. Like no, bring the talent here. The talent doesn't have to be behind the curtain. Bring the talent here, and you want to watch Tay-Rock versus Twerk? You're going to have to pay $7.99 for that, dog. Because people will want to pay that for a big battle. They'll want to pay that for Rum and Lux. They'll want to pay that for these battles. But you get these free guys in here. You want to see the next talent? You get to see them. But what if he battles Cortez? You're going to have to pay $7.99 for that, bruv. Like, give us a reason to follow afterwards. And I really think that you have a live stream thing like that. Premiere each episode. You're in control. Like, as soon as it's done, then premiere, and then you can work the next one afterwards. You don't have to promote it. Just have it happen. Battle rappers sign NDAs, whatever, so they don't spoil the show for fans, right? There's the new talent needs to be on the YouTube, and the big talent that's paid a lot of money probably should stay behind the paid app. Like, it would almost seem easier to do that so that people are aware of who's coming next. Rather than, oh, I know this battle rapper anyway, so I'll watch the battle, then that's it. The talent show concept is so great. And as I feel I've laid out a structured manner in setting up battles, and then afterwards, once you've had a 4v4 or something like that, you have your winner, cash prize, whatever, you know, and then they maybe give him a golden ticket and say, you get to pick, you get a spot on Summer Madness, you get to pick someone that you want. And usually they'll say, oh, Tay-Rock or something like that, you know, but Give them that little golden ticket. I don't know, and maybe you stream that battle on YouTube. When Summer Madness happens, or when Smack Volume at the end of the year, you give them that promise that you get the battle that they want. Because you know Rock will do it, you know Twerk will probably do it. All these guys will probably do it that are in the URL. Maybe just say, maybe not Mook or Lux. But apart from that, everything's fair game. Because they've given you like a year's worth of entertainment per week. You know, like a whole talent series that's gone on for 4 or 5 months for next to nothing for the opportunity. Giving them something. And the other guys, you know what they're like. You can have your little background stories too, your little before interviews. We get to know the people, and then we get to be engaged with them. And then you can have them do your interviews, planned interviews with 3 Letter Man and Caps and Black Compass, and say, right, this comes out on this time, this comes out here. And you can control more of the media and get them involved, and everyone then discusses the Crucible. And the media will be happy to be involved too. They could play kayfabe. They might really know the answers. They could be there live, but they just go, oh, who won this battle? Like, you work with the media. That basically, if they have it set up right, people will be invested. And Ultimate Madness 1, we were all invested because we were sat watching the TV, and we could see they have the little graphics when they're boom, whoosh, bosh, you know, like right before the battling, and they have the face-offs, and we get to know the personality because they're streaming and they're talking about battles, and you know, the more we get to know, the more we relate to them. There's the Crucible is great, and as a concept it's great. But as execution, it's fucking awful. And there needs to be a change. This one I'm very particularly passionate about. Like, there's something there that you can smell. You can smell the blood. You can smell it. You just need to find it. And if you do that with your YouTube will... There'll be more algorithm in the YouTube. You'll have like... You premiere this, you probably have like 800 to 1,000 on a premiere. And that does good for your algorithm. That does good things for your algorithm. You get put on the For You pages. You get put on all these other places because your channel is more active. When you just throw up a battle there every so often because it's a big event coming, you lose your traction. You lose your traction with your channel. You want to get a bigger channel to then say, oh, by the way, check the URL tv.tv. Even if the VOD doesn't stay on YouTube, maybe it goes on the URL after. Or for extended scenes, full battles, watch the URL tv.tv for backstage information, exclusive interviews, and on-site battles like Nexus events, shit like that. You could do that as well and just use the app like a Patreon, like it's supposed to be, where you have the channel and then you have the Patreon to add to the channel. That's what it's for. And exclusives. There's nothing in the URL that feels exclusive except watching the battles. And even then, battles come out once every, I guess like once every month and a half. I still have the app and I barely check it. We're now getting King of the Dot battles, which I love. I love getting T-Rex and Chilla Jones on the app right now. But I've already seen that. I watched it on the pay-per-view. That's not an exclusive. It's exclusive before it comes on YouTube, but still, Big K and Tay-Rock ended up the first thing on YouTube 2 weeks after the event. That wasn't exclusive. That was on YouTube. Right, I'll end that there. Let me know what you think about the Crucible. The Crucible. If there's any other ideas for the Crucible, man, put them in the comments. Just, it's such an interesting concept that it just needs a bit more focus and a bit more planning for it to work. Cammygbr. Salute.
One a day till 100K. Look, I've been with plenty women, still don't know how women think. Been through the good and bad, really through the thick and thin. Sometimes I'm questioning the world that they be living in. Their standards be a fantasy to fan their public image. If it's Twitter, 6 figures isn't rich now, huh? But IRL, they gave it up for a chipped out blunt. I'd rather stay in the house and leave the bitch out front. I won't fit into your criteria list, now what? See, she say she like to sniff and hit a dab. I think Shotty wildin'. She go from power to the gas like she in a hybrid. Say she doesn't do this often, guess she got some mileage. She say she into Libras, I said I'm into silence. Come with baggage, I ain't carrying your luggage, bitch. She get to lying and she come up with the dumbest shit. Starts talking about my truth, I'm making fun of it. The greatest thing about truth is it's only one of it, Coke.